Commencing depressurization. Depressurization complete.
Exiting airlock. How do I reach the generator?
The generator facility should be just up ahead as you exit.
Copy that.
I'll mark the destination for you.
Juno, pull the FTL's output log, starting a few minutes back from the accident.
What are you looking for?
If your android is right and the FTL accident really did create a temporal anomaly, then we should see clear evidence of the event in the output data. FTL drives don't normally rip open tunnels through time.
I don't believe being infected by biomass is normal either.
Wait, you're right. Juno, can you pull up the readings from right when the ticks attacked the drive?
Stand by.
This resonance. The FTL shouldn't be creating a displacement with this signature and nowhere near this magnitude.
Then it's the biomass. Has to be. It's causing some sort of reaction in the drive.
We'll need to run some simulations.
Let's get to it then. Jack, we'll be on standby.
Acknowledged. I've located the entrance.
Unfortunately, it seems the airlock is offline, most likely due to the power failure. An alternate access method will be required.
Does that mean there's another way in?
Station blueprints show an access hatch on the facility's exterior. Look for a small rectangular hatch with a red cover.
Copy that. I'll take a look outside. Access hatch located. Looks like I'll have to cut my way in.
With the generator's interior in a vacuum state, it should be safe to use your cutter here. Explosive decompression will not be an issue.
Copy that. I'm inside the facility. What's next?
The main problem is almost certainly the reactor. It's a large cylindrical structure in the facility's central chamber. The access way will take you there, though additional cutting may be required. But please, try to avoid damaging our former workplace too heavily.
Juno!
Wait, you two used to work here?
Juno and I were part of the station's biomass research team.
So you were here during the outbreak?
No, I had taken leave to pursue my theory for eliminating the biomass. By the time I returned, it was too late. There was no one left.
My God, Harlan.
Captain, please. We have work to do.
The reactor is completely shut down. It appears as if there was an internal malfunction.
That explains the power outage.
And the life support failure.
Right, better open it up, Jack. See what's going on in there.
A fully charged core. Might be useful if I can find a proper receptacle for it. I'll probably have to cut my way through from the other side. I found a device in the storage area.
A network terminal. It may still be connected. Scan its port with your data link to attempt a data transfer. Scan successful. Interesting. Shortly before the outbreak, the engineers developed a means of optimizing the power flow of the reactor. Jack, if you can find more data on this, I may be able to adapt these principles to your integrated cutter.
How much more data?
Uncertain. Without possessing the actual data, it's impossible to measure its size. Nonetheless, I've made an entry in the data tab on your ARM computer. I anticipate only a few more scans will be required, though.
Acknowledged. I'll keep watch for more data ports.
Nice work, Jack. Much of the data here will prove useful in augmenting your cutter. Unfortunately, we will need more to complete the design. But I did find something that might be of interest. A voice memo from the station's chief engineer regarding the technology. I've added it to your ARM computer's data tab, Jack.
Some type of local data storage?
Correct. Insert enough of them into a database terminal, and the terminal's data port will become available to scan. Good news, Jack. With the data you just collected, I expect we need only one more scan to complete the design.
Juno, I need you to run the math on these same parameters.
Yes, Doctor.
Dr. Harlan, why did you have to leave the station? There seems to be plenty of biomass.
That is all highly evolved. I need the base genetic material, and that can only be found in an undetonated biomass torpedo. There's nothing more I can do from here.
Right. Then what brought you back? Did you know the station had...
I'm sorry, Captain Rhodes, but we do not have time for me to recount my entire life story. I was here. I left. And when I came back, everyone was dead or gone.
All right. Fine.
Why don't I simply compile an archive of the logs covering our time away from the station? That way the captain can review them at her leisure.
If you must, but after you've finished verifying the sim parameters.
Very well. I will let you know when I've finished, Captain.
Thanks, Juno.
Excellent. That did indeed provide sufficient data. Just give me a moment to process everything. Stand by. Schematic complete. Please head to the nearest fabricator so we can install the improvement to your cutter. Integration successful. Your shell's reactive cutter has been refitted with extended range and efficiency.
Well done, Juno.
The pleasure was mine. And please, restrict cutting to non-critical equipment.
I've managed to open the hatch leading to the storage area.
Splendid. The area should now be accessible through the maintenance duct below. Captain, I've finished compiling the log data you requested.
Great, can you pass it to my ARM computer, Juno? Actually, best send it to Jack as well.
Of course. Jack, I've added it to your data tab.
Wow, this is some archive.
It was an illuminating expedition. I took the liberty of segmenting the log entries. Feel free to review them at your own pace.
If you two have finished, I've input the parameters for the next sim.
Of course, Doctor.
I'm opening the casing for a closer look at the reactor.
Copy that.
Now simply rotate the core clockwise until it stops turning.
Core is locked in.
Excellent.
Second core installed.
Acknowledged. Please visit one of the nearby consoles to bring the reactor back online.
A rather prominent location for a manual interface.
Those are the distribution controls, Jack. They'll eventually direct power to every facility in Chiron Station. The reactor will need to be activated before this console will work.
Acknowledged. The reactor is back online.
The power hasn't returned here on the ship yet.
Jack, power still needs to be distributed from here to the ship, as well as the rest of the station. The console you saw in the control room should now allow you to perform this final step. Distribution complete. Power grid stabilized. Life support systems optimal.
Well done, Jack. We're getting full power here.
How is progress on your end?
Dr. Harlan's still running Sims, but I think we at least have a working theory.
All the models we've run so far appear to confirm biomass interaction with an active FTL triggers an abnormal buildup of energy within the drive, resulting in the formation of a temporal anomaly.
For reasons we still don't fully understand.
It is also unclear why the accident only caused the android's software to travel through time, as opposed to the more physical time jumps we've observed with the Astrea. But at this point, I'm willing to accept these ambiguities and proceed.
Wait, what exactly are you saying?
We must try it again.
What, send Jack back in time again? You've got to be kidding me.
It's the only way. Any chance we have of eliminating the biomass lies with finding an undetonated torpedo. We must send the android back.
You talk like he's expendable.
Of course he is. All of us are. You've seen how it spreads. Eradicating the biomass is going to take everything we have, and then some.
Yeah, well, it's not just up to you, is it? Jack, what do you think?
Dangerous or not, the potential lives saved makes it worth trying.
That's an awfully big risk.
You would do the same were the roles reversed.
And you would probably try to talk me out of it too.
Would I succeed?
Alright, fine. I'm in. What do we need to do next?
We're going to have to recreate the circumstances of the time travel accident.
Oh, don't tell me.
We're going to need biomass. Contained biomass samples specifically. The research facility should serve our purposes nicely.
There is one other problem. The FTL accident depleted the drive's fuel cells, and we don't have the supplies to refill them.
Then our best bet for a fuel cell will be the remnants of the Astrea. However, exploring that area may be difficult. Pesky shipboard defense protocols somehow remain active. Something off with the AI, Juno says.
Could be just as dangerous as dealing with the biomass, really. Well, Jack, what's up first? Grab some creepy crawlies from the research facility? Or dig up a fuel cell for the FTL drive?
The FTL fuel cell sounds like a priority.
Feeling a bit nostalgic for the old Astrea, are we?
Following the yellow conduits will lead you directly to the salvage site.
Thank you, Juno.
So when Jack eventually returns with these volatile materials, where exactly do we plan to store them?
I believe I can convert elements of the refueling depot to suit our needs.
Need a hand?
Why, yes, Captain. Your assistance would be most appreciated.
Anything's better than just sitting here. Come on, Popcorn. Let's get ready to head out.
Good luck out there. See you soon.
Approaching the Astrea now.
Finally, if any fuel cells are still intact, they'd probably be deeper within the wreckage. Unfortunately, everything beyond the bridge is steeped in radiation, and the ship's AI is just making matters worse.
The ship's AI? Do you mean Apollo?
Are you familiar?
Apollo was the ship's tactical AI. He was instrumental in helping us survive our first encounter with the biomass.
I just hope he's still online.
Considering my difficulties exploring here, he must be.
Then if we can make contact with Apollo, he can probably help us find the fuel cell we need.
Guess it's time to say hello to our old friend.
Roger that. Heading to the bridge. A bypass for the door controls, locked behind a keypad.
It was the only way I could gain access. The code is 2126.
I've gained access to the bridge.
I assume you have some type of plan.
Apollo's AI core would be an appropriate place to start. It was vital to his operation here.
Good point, Jack. If it's still intact, it could be all we need to strike up a conversation.
You two are rather confident.
Apollo commissioned us as official crew members last time we met.
And we did part on good terms. I'm sure he'll do what he can to help.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
A casualty from Dr. Harlan's previous investigation.
It was just another shell lying around the station. We were trying to put it to good use.
I thought I could pilot it well enough, but apparently limb control is not my forte.
I'm expecting you'll fare better, Echo One. If this Apollo is indeed the ally you say he is.
The main access point for the bridge systems. With Apollo's AI core plugged in here, we might have a chance of establishing contact.
Unknown user detected. Bridge access is restricted to crew members only.
Wait, what?
Initializing threat suppression protocol.
Apollo, disable the alarms. Now!
Invalid command. The only crew members authorized with bridge access are Captain Olivia Rhodes and the Echo Unit designation. Jack, welcome back to the Estrella. It is good to see you.
Thank you, Apollo. It is good to see you as well.
Is Captain Rhodes with you? And well, I hope.
Cheers, Apollo. We missed you.
Likewise, Captain. Jack, your appearance is altered. I almost did not recognize you. I must apologize for the alarms.
Your reasoning was sound.
What brings you back to the Estrella?
We need an FTL fuel cell, Apollo. But we believe you've been disabling Dr. Harlan's salvaging equipment. We'll need it back online to deal with the radiation here.
Preserving this vessel is my primary directive. The last time jump virtually destroyed it. No further attempts to remove or misuse equipment can be permitted.
Lives depend on it, Apollo.
I understand, Captain, but I cannot allow any further material from this vessel to be compromised.
Apollo, Liv is infected with the biomass, and your directive is protecting the ship's crew and its critical assets.
Forgive me, Jack. I failed to follow your reasoning.
You yourself commissioned Liv, a fellow Atlas employee, as acting captain after the deaths of your original crew. You must remember.
Confirmed. Though I had not considered her status in such terms. Captain Rhodes is truly infected.
She needs your help.
Very well. As the Estrella's tactical adjunct, my primary directive is to protect its crew.
So you will help then?
Affirmative. I am hereby available to assist you in obtaining a fuel cell.
Lovely. That's settled.
Apollo, are you able to detect any fuel cells that are still operational?
My sensor network has been severely damaged. However, any functional fuel cells on the Estrella would be in the auxiliary drive bay. It can be seen through the window far ahead of the bridge. It is approximately 400 meters from here.
Seems easy enough to reach.
And it would be if this AI hadn't disabled the equipment I set up to counter the radiation.
A temporary security measure. Your equipment is now re-enabled.
You better not have damaged any of it.
Normal operations should resume now. Jack can verify this.
Oh dear. Incoming.
What the hell is that?
A cargo drone. Apparently no longer capable of flight.
Apologies. My anti-theft protocols are quite aggressive.
Fortunately, our salvaging equipment appears to still have working radiation dampeners, meaning Jack should now have a safe route to the drive bay.
That's some good news.
A number of problems remain. Accessing the fuel cells, for one. Doing so will require that I have direct control of the systems within the drive bay. You must bring me along with you.
Are you seriously going to integrate with this rogue AI?
Without Apollo, we wouldn't have lasted this long. We can trust him.
Jack, I'll walk you through the process of downloading my imprint to your cortex.
I'm ready, Apollo.
Simply insert my AI core into the lower receptacle, then use your data link on the override slot. I will do the rest. Disconnecting from mainframe now. Download complete. Only one final issue remains, Jack. Your arms are too short.
Too short?
The FTL technology is highly sensitive. Accessing the drive bay and the fuel cells within will require multiple operators.
Good thing there's two of us then.
Unfortunately, the debris field is far too irradiated to accommodate Captain Rhodes.
You're saying Jack's the best chance we've got, but even he won't be enough.
I might be able to help, actually. The cargo drones employ stasis technology, which enables them to manipulate objects at a distance.
Like the stasis projectors we used to levitate the tram back in the hab.
Exactly. I believe I can incorporate the drone stasis tech into your shell, Jack. I'll just need more data from them to be sure.
The drone that just hit the bridge is unlikely to put up much resistance. I'll start there.
Whenever you're ready, Jack.
I'm heading out.
Jack, to stay protected from radiation out there, you'll need to activate radiation dampeners with your data link. They can be found on both charging docks and cargo drones. Shields at 95%.
Radiation dampener activated.
Hypothesis confirmed. With sufficient data, I'll be able to construct a tool for extending your reach, Jack.
Does this tool have a name, Juno?
Well, it will essentially project your grip across space, so I suppose...
It's a grip projector. Let's move on.
more data will be needed.
There'll be plenty on the way to the drive bay. You know what to look for.
Affirmative. Inoperable cargo drones, but with functioning data ports. Heading to the drive bay.
Please remember the charging docks have radiation dampeners as well, Jack. They'll help keep you safe out there.
Thank you, Juno.
At least a small amount of that data is relevant to the biomass. We can use it in our development of a cure. Shields at 30%.
Echo One, those charging docks won't have the data Juno needs to design your new tool, but they will restore your power. Hold your hands near the induction panel, and it will recharge your shielding.
The doctor is correct. The dock's data won't help in developing a new tool. However, I think it may still prove useful, specifically because the docks normally maintain a coordination and optimization network. They contain shared data from across the station. Prior to the generator going offline, the units in irradiated areas were sharing optimizations that I believe could still be used to improve your multispectral shielding, Jack.
Scanning further docks should provide the necessary data?
Yes, I believe so. I've added a tracker to your data tab. Shields at 95%. Archives recovered. I'm quite confident now that with more optimization data, I can significantly improve your multispectral shielding's resistance to radiation.
I am curious, Juno. Why is my shielding not already optimized? Neither my shell nor the charging docks are experimental technologies, correct?
That is true. believe the lack of optimization stems from two related factors. Firstly, there has not been a significant need for such optimization. The current shielding configuration has been more than adequate for typical X3 mission profiles. Secondly, practical testing scenarios for data collection have not presented themselves until quite recently.
You are referring to the Estrella?
Indeed. Only after its arrival and the Doctor's subsequent attempts at salvage operations in its vicinity have the docks had sufficient exposure to generate meaningful findings. Fortunately, now that you are using an X3 shell, it's become apparent that those findings can be put to additional use. Apollo, I believe I may be able to extend Jack's reach by about 4 meters. I hope that will be far enough.
Affirmative.
Just a few more scans should suffice, Jack. Data stores recovered. Network connectivity restored. This should prove useful in optimizing your multispectral shielding, Jack. Jack, I'm detecting extreme radiation nearby. If you can pinpoint the source, I advise staying clear.
Hazard identified. An active warhead from the Estrella.
Once your grid projector is installed, removal of dangerous objects like this will be possible. Until then, maintaining a prudent distance is advisable. Shields at 95%. Excellent. Further optimization data recovered. Though, I'm afraid I'll need more to complete the design. Shields at 95%. The stasis projection technology will be simpler to adapt than previously anticipated. If you scan one more cargo drone, I believe I will have enough data to complete your new tool. Analyzing. Perfect, as predicted. I now have sufficient data to improve your multispectral shielding, Jack. Please return to the nearest fabricator for installation.
Apollo, I wanted to ask.
Yes, Captain.
Well, you've probably figured this out already, but... You know this isn't your time, right? This isn't the future you came from.
Affirmative. When we first arrived, I was able to accurately calculate the astronomical year. However, I lacked sufficient data to determine that the course of history had been altered. I apologize for having misinformed you. The fact that half of the Estrella was left in your time and led to system-wide decimation of the human race is clear evidence of a tactical oversight on my part.
Installation successful. Jack, your multispectral shielding should now be more resistant to radiation. Please note, however, that contact with biomass will still drain it just as rapidly as before.
Understood. Thank you, Juno.
Of course.
Liv, I found a part of the Kronos 2, the hull identification panel. I believe it was pulled through with us when we time jumped.
Just couldn't stand to be without us, could she? You know, I volunteered for the Kronos. else would touch it. Too far out. But that's exactly why I went after it. I wanted to get as far out there as I could. Fast forward a couple years and we're making that jump on the Estrella. All of a sudden, there's 4 centuries between me and everything I've ever known. Can't really get much further out than that, can you?
I would suppose not.
The thing is, now that I'm actually here, all I can think about is going back home. Hell of a lot of radiation out there. Guess it's coming from the Estrella.
Correct. The Estrella's last time jump ruptured a generator, diffusing radiation throughout the region.
Thus, the radiation dampness.
Approaching the drive bay.
I'm detecting some intense radiation there, Jack. Warheads, I believe. I advise removing them from the immediate area before proceeding.
Sounds like the perfect job for that new tool you're working on.
Correct. It will allow him to manipulate distant objects, including these warheads.
Good luck collecting that data, Jack.
Copy that, Liv. I'll continue searching for cargo drones to scan.
Shields at 95%. Charging dock restored. Jack, now that we've completed optimizing your shield's radiation resistance, I'm afraid there's nothing more to be gained from the dock's data.
What's the point of an advanced network of semi-autonomous recharge stations if you can't count on them to calculate impressive optimizations for you?
I believe you are correct, Captain. The distributed computing power of the charging docks could be put to greater use.
Yes. That's precisely what I meant. Go on.
I have tasked the charging docks with developing a means for allowing Jack's shield to self-regenerate. The wealth of empirical data they have collected on recharging should prove invaluable to the process.
Then I presume additional data scans would be of value after all.
Indeed. Please continue scanning any docks you may find. The additional computing power of more active units would be advantageous as well.
Copy that.
Dr. Harlan, what was your purpose in attempting to salvage the Estrella? The odds of my ship's components being compatible with yours seems unlikely.
It wasn't the hardware I was after. Your ship was the original source of the infestation. I'd hoped to find an undetonated biomass torpedo amongst the wreckage.
Tool schematics complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new tool, Jack. Most charging docks will have one nearby. Grip projector installed. To use your grip projector, simply point at a target. Activate the projector and direct it with your hand. Any sufficiently small piece of debris would be ideal to experiment on.
If your new tool works as intended, Jack, you should be able to access the fuel cells now.
Good. Heading to the drive bay.
Careful, Jack. There's another form of the biomass nearby. You may have seen them before. Elongated structures with an affinity for spore dispersion.
Indeed, cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. Maintaining a safe distance is usually the best course of action.
Good find, Jack. There's a bit of data in there we can apply toward developing a cure for the biomass. Shields at 50%.
I'm back at the drive bay, armed with the grid projector this time.
Great. You should be able to remove those warheads now.
Warheads removed. Entry into the drive bay is now clear.
Copy that. Standing by.
Now heading for the fuel cells.
Great. We'll keep a working cargo drone on standby. Just look for a good fuel cell and we'll handle the rest.
Roger that. I've gained access to the drive bay.
Wait, those pillars in the center, are those...
The Astrea's FTL drives, yes.
do they still work?
Theoretically. But unfortunately, they're of little use to us. With such a high concentration of biomass forms in this area, any attempt to remove one of the drives would prove futile.
Dr. Harlan, I'm noticing these ticks appear to be less evolved than those we've previously encountered.
Must have carried over from the last time jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started. Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack.
Shields at 95%.
Accessing fuel cell.
Shields at 95%.
It's alright, Jack. Just stick to the outer walls and try to avoid touching any biomass.
I'm confused. Its AI pathing requires voice input.
What? No, You've got this, Jack. Don't worry, Doctor. If you run up against that many ticks, I'll be just as verbally encouraging.
Unfortunately, Captain Holmes. Being organic, I am permitted far fewer errors in judgment.
Empty. I'll have to keep looking.
Exposing fuel cell for inspection. Jack, the data ports you need to access are located on the storage units running along the room's perimeter.
Shields at 95%.
Viable fuel cell located. Hopefully enough to power Dr. Harlan's FTL drive.
Nicely done, Jack. I'm sending a drone your way.
Send two.
What for? It's only one fuel cell.
Just trust me. Send two.
Warning. Lead drone compromised.
Jack, what's going on?
The ticks swarmed the lead cargo drone.
And that is why you send two.
I don't think we'll be using that one again.
Backup drone malfunctioning.
More ticks. The lead drone is disabled, but the backup still has a chance.
Pissy bastards, aren't they?
I'll clear them off.
Nice work, Jack. There's a lot of good data here. It should help in developing a cure significantly.
Cargo drone cleared.
Acknowledged. Thank you, Jack. Resuming flight. Drone is in place to collect the cargo.
Jack, I've activated the release controls on the fuel cell.
Do we know what the biomass does specifically to an FTL drive to trigger a time jump?
I have a few theories.
As do I.
And I'm sure they're all equally preposterous.
The drive assembly looks remarkably like Dr. Harlan's FTL, if only a bit larger.
As I understand it, our drives were reverse engineered from the ones left behind on the Astrea 400 years ago. Their functionality hasn't improved since then.
Speaking of functionality, any luck finding a good fuel cell?
I believe one of the exposed cells may be suitable. I'll double check and report back. Fuel cell released.
Cargo secured. Ready for departure.
Excellent. Fuel cell still needs to be latched into place once it arrives, Jack. The honor's all yours, if you like.
I'll take care of it, Liv. I'd prefer to see the job through to the end anyway.
Okay, great. We'll see you in a bit.
Cargo drone returning in T-minus 10 seconds.
Better grab on or stay clear, Jack.
If you wish to return now, I advise taking hold of the drone. Cargo drone departing in 3, 2, 1. Firing thrusters.
The fuel cell is clear of the drive bay.
Great. We'll have some cargo clamps ready to receive it here. Surprised to see welders haven't changed all that much in 400 years.
That design is actually from a historical archive. It was the standard for most of the 23rd century. I'm afraid it's the closest approximation to a welder I could fabricate. I hope it's acceptable.
Perfectly adequate, Juno. Thank you.
Cargo inbound to destination. Decreasing speed for final descent.
Looking good, Cowboy Jack. Steady as she goes. Hookup controls are over near the cargo clamps.
Fuel cell in place and ready to be secured.
All you, Jack.
Liv, are you feeling well? Given your infection, I wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Jack. Honestly, I feel fine physically.
And mentally.
I'm fine there too, Dr. Jack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The state of this future is not great. But we've got a plan to fix it. And I've got work to keep me busy. Just soldiering on, you know?
Indeed. You'll let me know if your condition changes.
Of course.
These units were used to refuel ships?
Yeah, input only now, though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed.